It's Flag Day here in Dallas. What were Cooper Flagg's first words officially in Dallas? We'll react coming up next on the DLLS Mavs podcast. Hey, what's up, DLLS Mavs Nation? It's your man, Kevin Gray, alongside Mavericks analyst Bobby Carella. We, of course, are DLLS Mavs, your favorite guys cover your favorite team every single Flag Day, including today. Cooper Flagg officially lands in Dallas. His first words as a member of the Dallas Mavericks. Will he be playing point guard, Jason Kidd? We'll get into all of that and more, plus what his schedule will look like as we get ready for NBA Summer League. We'll get into that a little bit later on in the show. Really appreciate hanging out with us here on the DLLS Mavs podcast. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to DLLS Sports, and also download our podcast wherever you get your podcasts for free. Just search DLLS Mavs, give it a 5-star rating, and write a review for it while you're there on this fantastic Friday, Bobby Carella. A busy day in DFW. A little bit later on, the Indiana Fever come into Dallas to take on Paige Beckers and the Dallas Wings at the AAC. A fun Friday here in the Metroplex.
Big week for basketball.
Yeah.
And it's carrying over right into next week because Monday's free agency.
That's
and then
right.
Summer League is like the week after that. It's go time. It is go time.
It is. We'll get into what free agency could look like for the Dallas Mavericks a little bit later on in our show. In just a moment, we'll be welcoming in our Mavericks beat writer, Tim Cato, live from the Mavericks practice facility as he was there in person as Cooper Flagg provided his first words as a member of the Dallas Mavericks. You'll see a little bit of footage here, Tanner, of him coming in off of Patrick Dumont's plane a little bit earlier today as the Dallas Mavericks faithful welcomed Cooper Flagg, the 6'8", 6'9", 220.
Bold choice to wear a sweatsuit in the middle of June. He'll learn that.
Sweatsuit, ball cap in the middle of June when it's 90-some-odd degrees outside.
Kid said he wanted him to be uncomfortable.
That is a choice. It certainly is a choice. You'll hear from Cooper Flagg here in just a moment. But let's kind of just the NBA draft being over with before we get to our guy, Tim Cato. Just what the last couple of days have been like, obviously what the last month and a half have been like from the Mavericks surprisingly winning the lottery to now Cooper Flagg actually in Dallas Mavericks gear, part of this franchise, and now him having his chance to speak to the media for the very first time. What have just been your thoughts been over the last month and a half as all this is unfolded here?
I mean, we've said it a million times. We were desperate for a vibe shift around here. By we, I mean the Mavs, okay, the team, everyone around the team, fans, observers, media, chatters, hosts, podcasters, everybody needed a vibe shift because what we just laid witness to for the last 5 or so months has been brutal by any measure. No matter where you fall on the how much you like or dislike Nico Harrison spectrum, stuff was looking grim, and that was going to carry over to next season, and that might not be the case anymore. And for that, I'm very grateful.
Cooper Flagg going to be wearing number 32 here with the Dallas Mavericks. As we heard from him today, he was asked what makes him competitive. Where does he get his competitive spirit from, and what drives him? Here is what Cooper Flagg had to say as some of his first words as a member of the Dallas Mavericks.
The competitiveness, I think it just started from a young age, playing with my brothers, playing with my mom in the driveway, fostering that competitive spirit and just loving to win. I think that's, a really big part of it is just loving to win. And that's why I play the game. I play to win, play to compete, play to play really hard. And so those are the reasons that I love the game and I fell in love with the game. And I think that's what's kind of created that competitive spirit and drive.
So Cooper Flagg is about that action and someone who has a uber competitive drive, someone who wants to get to be the best on both ends of the floor, especially on the defensive end. It's good to hear him articulate some of that in terms of what drives him, a guy that appears to hate losing and love winning. And for him, an opportunity to now be able to usher in a new era for this Mavericks franchise and to be able to turn the page and give this team a supercharge, if you will, on what the future begins to look like. Because this is a team, even with Cooper Flagg coming in, a lot of expectations for this group to try and fulfill what this defense wins championships window looks like under Nico Harrison, and to be able to have an 18-year-old young man to be able to build not only around for the future, but also potentially help you in your present. It is Nico Harrison, a little bit of a 2-for-1 when you think of what Cooper Flagg could potentially be able to do here in Dallas.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. They want to win right now, and we'll see if they can win right now.
And if they do, that will certainly help turn Mavericks fans a little bit around in some ways when it comes to how they feel about this franchise going forward. Let's bring in our Mavericks beat writer, Tim Cato, live from the Mavericks practice facility after Cooper Flagg, Nico Harrison, and Jason Kidd addressed the media in trio for the very first time together here in Dallas. Tim, what's going on? How we doing?
Doing wonderful. How are you fellas?
Doing well. It's a fun day. I'm excited. We got some Wings basketball. As you can see, I got my Wings shirt on. Looking forward to tonight. But obviously, the man of the hour, the 18-year-old kid from Duke, Cooper Flagg, his first words today just kind of set the scene for us at the Mavericks practice facility and take us through how things started to go as the event unfolded there.
Oh yeah, I mean this is a huge day, and you always know how huge of a day it is based off how far back you have to park in the parking lot, how many media members are there, the fact that this got moved from their typical press conference room, which is already, a larger room than where they sometimes hold practice availabilities. This was on the court. This was on the court of the practice facility. They have two, and one of them, I believe the other one, as I speak, when I wrap up here, I'll probably mosey on back out there. They're immediately doing a hoops camp that Cooper is taking part in. But yeah, one of those courts, the other one is, was set up to host, a couple hundred people. Mark Cuban talking to Patrick Dumont, employees all over the place, more media, than I think we've seen since probably the NBA Finals. And, just by the sheer, amount of prep and planning and attendance, it's very clear. Not that we need to tell you that yeah, this is absolutely the start of a very new, exciting era, Dallas Mavericks history, and Cooper Flagg is officially here.
What did you learn about Cooper Flagg and the opportunity to hear him speak at large for the very first time about him as a person, as a competitor, as a player, and what that means for him as he starts to transition here with this basketball team?
Everybody talks about his competitiveness, and I think to the extent that you see it in the way that he approached this press conference, the way that he answered questions was, just his focus, very, very focused, very, direct, and the way that, he just, answered what was, a very, very, very wide a range of various things, asked of him. He said he doesn't like music. That's how locked in he is to hoops, man. So, they say, they do not say that music wins championships. So, but no, seriously, he is clearly someone who, is excited for the challenge. If there's anything, anything learned from this, anything to learn from his biography, from his past, from his history. This is somebody who's always, seeking to ascend and rise higher to the next level of the challenge. And, if there was a basketball on-court takeaway from today, it's that Jason Kidd plans to give it to him, as you guys mentioned to start the show, is that Jason Kidd, several times.
Oh no,
he's frozen in time.
Tim is frozen in time.
It looks like he's about to make it a stew
He's
point.
frozen. Oh, there he is. Tim, do you read us?
Oh,
Tim, God.
He's going to come back.
He's lost in the vortex.
Before we take our break, though, here in a few minutes, he started to get into the idea what Jason Kidd had mentioned about Cooper Flagg having the opportunity to play point guard, going to have the ball in his hands quite a bit and wanting to put him in uncomfortable situations. When you hear and see that from Jason Kidd, what immediately comes to mind when it comes to thoughts about how much the ball could potentially be in Cooper Flagg's hands going forward here?
I mean, I'm sure the easy comp that a lot of people will make is what J-Kid did with Giannis whenever he was coaching him in Milwaukee. That was during the 2015-16 season. J-Kid was like, look, man, I'm giving him the ball, and we're just going to figure it out. Now, that was very critical to Giannis's development as a player, obviously. He has gone on to be, I wouldn't say he's still point forward for the Bucks anymore, but I mean, he's certainly a guy that has a lot of ball skills that were not highlighted or featured earlier in his career. That was year 3 for him. That season, the Bucks, though, won 33 games. They were very, very bad. Now, part of that is because he was running point guard alongside like Michael Carter-Williams, who was a non-shooter. He was sharing a backcourt with Jared Bayless, who was a decent vet, but not that explosive a scorer. Chris Middleton was on that team, but before he was Chris Middleton, and then it was like Greg Monroe playing the 5. So there just wasn't a lot of space. There wasn't a lot of areas for Giannis to get into and be effective. And there was no pressure on the Bucks to win, and they did not win. This year's Mavs team does have self-imposed expectations to win. They're talking about winning a championship. And so, learning through the ups and downs is something that you can generally afford to do whenever you are a little more patient and have a longer runway. The Mavs don't have that, and so that'll be a really delicate balance, I think, if he's unsuccessful early in that role. How long does J-Kid stay with it? For the season, by the way, that year, Giannis averaged a little more than 4 assists per game, averaged about 2.5 turnovers. So he had like a less than 2-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. So, it's if you're expecting him to make a lot of plays, there could be a lot of turnovers and mistakes, and that could cost you games. How much are J-Kid and Nico willing to live with that if the results don't show immediately?
J-Kid saying, quote, I want to put him at point guard, make him feel uncomfortable, see how he reacts. He'll have an opportunity to do that when the Mavericks take on the Lakers in NBA Summer League when they debut Cooper Flagg on July the 10th. I'll let you know when he'll be playing his second game as a member of the Dallas Mavericks. Our own Mark Stein confirming that Bronny James is going to play in that game for the Los Angeles Lakers against the Dallas Mavericks. So, ESPN, congratulations to you. You'll get that matchup that you're looking for. We'll try to get Tim Cato back in coming up here in our next segment as we continue to get reaction from the presser today where Cooper Flagg spoke to the Dallas media for the very first time. And I've joked about it before, Bobby, that, as we've started to learn more about Cooper Flagg, and obviously we had more of his words today, the idea that he's not necessarily into music and those kinds of things. I joke about it, but I think it's kind of cool, to be honest with you. He seems like he's boring as hell. He wants to play ball. He wants to play ball all the time. And my man seems like there are certain goals and things that he has in mind. I'm sure at 18 years old, there are things that he will continue to obviously grow and develop in as a person and as a player, interest-wise, on and off the floor. But it is kind of funny that a kid at 18 years old who reclassified to go to Duke, was a starter at 17 with Duke last year, helping lead them to a Final Four, that he seems like he's about ball and ball all the time. And if you are someone who didn't necessarily feel like the other dude who was here was necessarily about the whole conditioning aspect and all the other stuff that goes into being maniacally competitive to be that kind of player day in and day out, it feels like Cooper Flagg is the antithesis of that. And for some folks who might want that here, I think they may find that in Cooper Flagg going forward here.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I'm from the Dirk school, man. Like, Dirk grew up learning to dribble a basketball to jazz, like literally live saxophone playing in the gym he was working out in. And Dirk was playing the guitar and playing the saxophone and reading books and going on hikes with Holger. And I've heard some stories about some of the situations Holger's been in before. And like, Dirk credits that sort of like worldly, well-rounded kind of learning experience toward his basketball career. Like, you learn to think differently, you expand your mind, you broaden your horizons, and you grow as a person, all that stuff. So I hope he was just saying, I don't really think about music to like build the mythology, and that he actually does have a favorite band, because it is important. It's important to read. It's important to listen to music. It's important to appreciate the arts. I know that ball is life, but like, that's mostly a joke. I hope that that's not.
He's taking it literal. Ball is life for him.
Yeah. And like that will fire some people up. And if that's your speed, man, go for it. Like, respect. He's paid a lot of money. And if you're like, man, I only want him to think about basketball, that's fine. I want my favorite basketball players to think about other stuff too, though.
I mean, he's also been low-key a professional since he was 15, 16 years old. So there's
that's bad. I don't like that for kids.
No, I agree.
I don't like that at all.
I agree. That's a larger discussion for another show at another time. But that just kind of gives you a window of what kids are dealing with going from
LeBron, the same thing. And LeBron posts about music all the time.
That's right.
He's a big poster.
Yeah.
And LeBron loves movies. He loves making TV shows. He's acted in movies. Like LeBron, very well-rounded, cultured man. You know, and Cooper will get there one day, hopefully.
Cooper about that action, about that ball. In fact, we'll talk some more ball coming up here on the next break, after our next break here on the DLLS Mavs podcast. When we come back, we'll get our guy Tim Cato back in here as well, and what Cooper Flagg's immediate future is going to be looking like in a Mavericks uniform. All that and more coming up next on the DLLS Mavs podcast.
But first, Cooper Flagg hopped off that plane without a hat on his head, and he's probably going to have a sunburned neck later to show for it. Don't be like Cooper Flagg. Protect that neck. Protect that head. Rock a branded Bill hat, whether you need snapbacks, truckers, fitteds, or if you're a beanie enthusiast, or even if you need some T-shirts, Branded Bills has you covered with performance and style. If you need some gear to make your brand stand apart from the crowd, well, they can help you with that too, because Branded Bills will get you set with the best custom headwear. You can start your order, and their dedicated team will help you create the exact custom apparel you need. They had a partnership with more than 30 colleges as part of their campus collection, including TCU if you're a Horned Frogs fan, Texas Tech if you're a Red Raiders fan, and Texas Longhorns. What's their thing? I guess just if you're a Hook'em.
That's right.
If you're a fan of Hook'em,
that's right.
They got the Longhorns coming soon. Head to brandedbills.com and use code BBDLLS for 15% off your first order.
Way to navigate the alphabet. That was good. Let me talk to you about Game Time. Wings hosted Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever tonight at the American Airlines Center. Tickets are sold out, but you could still find yourself getting to the AAC tonight with Game Time and Game Time picks that filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. I was able to use Game Time to get my tickets for tonight's game. Excited to be at the AAC to watch Caitlin potentially go at it with Paige Beckers in tonight's game. They've got all-in pricing, does Game Time. You can use this feature to see all the things that you need to pay for before you get to checkout, so there's no surprise fees when you get to checkout. They got panoramic seat views as well, so you know exactly where you're going to sit before you purchase your tickets. So make sure you take the guesswork out of buying your tickets with Game Time picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DLLS for $20 off your first purchase. Remember, terms apply. Again, create an account and use code DLLS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it?
Game time.
Game time,
Man,
Joe
I
Hoyt.
didn't know that saying I wish people liked music more is so controversial. I
You
just
too-
really
you
like
going too
music.
deep, Bobby.
I just really like
Relax,
music.
guy.
That's all. I want everyone to have like 10 favorite bands.
Just relax.
I want it to be very difficult to choose your top 50 favorite songs of all time. I just really, really like music. That's
Are
all.
you going to create Cooper Flagg a playlist?
I'll make him a
A
playlist.
suggested playlist
Yeah,
of stuff he should
get
listen
Super
to?
John Zesty in there. Get all sorts of stuff in there. Hit me up, Cooper.
Quote, finally start to see the vision. That was part of a quote that Nico Harrison gave today when asked about how drafted Cooper Flagg can help repair the relationship with Dallas Mavericks fans. We'll get into some of that here in just a moment. Our guy Tim Cato trying to get back in with us here as well. And there he is, live from the Mavericks practice facility where Cooper Flagg right now is hanging out, doing some stuff with the, is it the Boys and Girls Club, I believe, hanging out, doing some practice drills and stuff like that.
I cannot
right
see
now.
or hear you fellas if I am indeed on the broadcast, unfortunately.
You are on the broadcast.
You are on
Tim.
the broadcast, and we can't see
You're
and
live.
hear you. You are very live.
You're live on the internet. That's fine.
And,
Tim, write a good article for us, pal. We'll read it later on alldlls.com.
the power of technology, at least where he's
I do want everyone to like Pokemon. That is correct.
three things. If you were to suggest Tanner, that's Tanner. If you were three things to suggest Cooper Flagg, like, hey, you need to do these three things, whether it be here in Dallas or just listen to music. What three things are you suggesting, like, hey, you get into while you're here?
Listen to music.
Okay.
Think creatively.
All right.
Play chess. Think
Oh.
analytically.
Victor Wembanyama, shout out.
Play Pokemon Go because you can stay in shape.
And also, Tanner, you could go eat at Whataburger, because today at the Mavericks practice facility, what was hanging out there, Abby Jones? That's right. Whataburger all over the place, as the Mavericks provided a proper Texas welcome with
Was the egg
Whataburger
sandwich.
for Cooper Flagg.
learn Whataburger, buddy? And you say I'm not a thought leader. folks. All right, they're listening.
They clearly are listening because that iconic line from Draft Lottery Night. Oh, that's right. Yeah, of course. There's always a good day to play that clip for sure. Go ahead.
Second pick.
Oh my God!
That's unreal.
They did it!
That's unreal.
They did it!
That is so
They did
unreal.
it!
Get ready to learn Whataburger, buddy.
Oh my gosh! That line will live forever here on the DLLS Mavs podcast, and of course from Draft Lottery Night, where Bobby uttered the iconic line. You want to say it for the folks live?
Well, he doesn't need to get ready to do it anymore because he already did.
They listened to
He
you.
learned
and there it is,
Whataburger.
and there it is.
He learned Whataburger.
He learned Whataburger. So shout out to Whataburger hanging out. I know Rolex. I lost my damn mind because real quick, as we were going through that night, as I'm arriving to the studio, I'm thinking there is no way in hell that a 1.8% chance for the Mavericks to win this lottery is actually going to happen. I was prepared to talk about how the Mavericks are going to sit there at 10 or 11. Hell, Nico Harrison even thought that they were going to stay there at 10 or 11. But as the night went on and then we got into the top four, number one, they had never moved up in the draft lottery. And number two, the fact that they had never moved up, but also for the first time moved up into the top four. And then when they got to number two and that San Antonio card was revealed, lost my mind because I did not think as I woke up that morning on May 12th that was going to be the outcome. But hey, rigged, Mark Stein, scripted, whatever you want to call it, it's in the favor of the Dallas Mavericks. Let's learn more, though, about what Cooper Flagg is going to look like in a Mavericks uniform. He's going to play his first two games on July 10th and 12th, his first game against Bronny James of the Los Angeles Lakers, and then July 12th against Dylan Harper and the aforementioned San Antonio Spurs. So it looks like he's going to play a couple of games in Summer League. What do you want? And we'll get more into this as we get closer to the games themselves. But just initially, when you think about, and we'll learn about the two-way guys as well, what you think that you want to see from him in a Mavericks uniform when he gets started?
Give me some dunks.
You want posters?
Give me some dunks. Dunks are cool. Dunks are fun, and he can dunk.
I want
he can really
blocks.
throw it down. He can really throw it down. I mean, Summer League is not. You're not. It's such a small amount of games that you're probably not going to see like measured improvement in anything. So it's just, hey, get out there, run around. Let's see what you can do. And it gives us something to hang on to because after that, we enter the desert and we do not emerge until the end of September for Media Day and the beginning of camp and all that stuff. So it'll be cool to see him out on the floor. Just kind of vibing. There was one example, though. So Derek Lively, this would have been in 2023. It's hard to even go back in that time, but I remember there was a widespread panic among the fan base after the first game that was against the Thunder, I want to say.
My man couldn't set a screen to save his life.
Yeah, his first offensive possession was an illegal screen, and there were a couple others that he was flubbing, and everyone was freaking out like, oh my God, he's never going to be able to do this. And then like the next game, he was fine, and obviously he's one of the better pick and roll bigs in the NBA now. So, there are things like that, but I would say that that's more likely to be he was just amped up and then is fine after that, as opposed to he discovered the meaning of life after the first game. So that is a long-winded way of saying if Cooper goes out and stinks up the joint, it's not a big deal. If he goes out and scores 40, that would be pretty freaking awesome. But also it doesn't mean that he's going to be a 40-point per game scorer. Summer League is a little wacky. It's a little weird. Jaylen Brown had a very bad Summer League, if I remember. Dennis Smith Jr. had an unbelievable Summer League. Their careers have gone in different directions, unfortunately for Mavs fans, honestly. But, it's just kind of, let's see what happens.
And we will find out here in very short order here in the next couple of weeks. Coming up in our next segment, we'll be discussing some of the two-way guys that have been signed by the Dallas Mavericks, particularly one from Gonzaga that has my guy Bobby Krilla. Extremely excited when it comes to the future of him in a Mavericks uniform potentially. But other notes coming in, obviously, from today's press conference. We touched on it at the beginning of the segment. Obviously, for Nico Harrison, the president, the embattled president and general manager of this franchise, what he has gone through in terms of what the trade was, but more importantly now, as the future of this team starts to look forward, not only with Summer League, but going into training camp next year as well. I don't imagine there's any level of vindication for him, even though he believes that, quote unquote, we need to see the vision as Cooper Flagg has been drafted here. But in a lot of ways, I've said it a couple of days ago, and I'll say it again here. For Mavericks fans specifically, what the last 2 days have represented, particularly obviously on draft night itself with Cooper Flagg and the culmination of what has been the last 4 months. I'm happy for them because now they be able to find something to help them turn the page from what was arguably the most controversial season in the 40-plus year history of the Dallas Mavericks, given all the things from the trade, the injury standpoint as well, that now they can look forward to what the basketball is going to look like. Because you mentioned a little bit earlier, Bobby, the expectations on this team with what they are trying to do in this whole 2 timelines deal, whether it be trying to win now with Cooper Flagg being in addition to this team, but also trying to maximize the defense championship window of 3 years that allows Kyrie Irving, obviously Anthony Davis, Jason Kidd being a part of this as well, to maximize this, because they've got a lot of work to do to ensure that what they have decided, what the vision of this franchise was, comes to fruition. Because if it doesn't, no matter what you have in terms of Cooper Flagg, there may be some people who will not necessarily be around here, but I think that could wait for another day. But the point being, there's a lot of work that will need to be done to ensure that this works, given all the things that they've done to put themselves in the position, luck or not, to be here for this particular day.
Yeah, but that would be the case no matter who they drafted. Like,
Sure.
Winning is really, 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 really hard. I mean, that's the truth with anybody. I mean, look at the Celtics. They won the title last year. They were one of the best teams we've ever seen, and then Tatum tears Achilles, and they blew the team up. You know, OKC, they got to pay all these guys. Probably a lot of them are going to be gone. A lot of them will be around, but if one of them gets hurt or if someone gets involved in a scandal, then that thing could be nuked. Like, it's really, really hard. And so just because you have the number 1 pick, it's no guarantee he's going to be a Hall of Famer, an All-NBA guy, or even an All-Star. It's also no guarantee that if he is all of those things that you're going to win the title. The Mavs just went through that with Luka, easily the best player, although Shea is now making the case for it, but one of the best players from the 2018 draft class, and he still hasn't won a title. And there's been a lot of guys drafted before and since that haven't either. So nothing is guaranteed. But yeah, I mean, you know, they're obviously putting a lot of pressure on themselves to win. That's their stated expectation. And when you get out in front of everyone and say that we're expecting to win a title, like right now, not next year, like right now, if you fail, then it means that there's going to be different people trying to win a title next year in your place. And so, you know, they're about as all in can get. The basketball romantic in me is like, hell yeah, dude. That's awesome. Like, let him hang, you know. But the Mavs, the lifelong Mavs enjoyer in me is like, I don't know if they're able to compete right now, unless an 18-year-old is way better than even I hope he can be. And so I'm a little spooked. But it's only June 27th, so we'll see what they do.
The situation that Cooper Flagg finds himself in is probably one of the most unique ones really in NBA history. There's only one other situation I can think of where a player, a number 1 pick, was able to walk into a tailor-made, quote-unquote, win-now situation, and that's Tim Duncan and the San Antonio Spurs. Now, obviously, for the Spurs to have gotten the number 1 pick, David Robinson got hurt, missed an entire season. They were able to get the number 1 pick. As soon as David Robinson came back, this team was really good again, and obviously, you know, we were able to win, 5 championships, you know, the amount of championships they won together. Cooper Flagg finds himself in a situation where Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis, say what you want about, Anthony Davis and his injury history, but the talent that is here, a team that's just a year removed from the NBA Finals, if you're Cooper Flagg, who has fashioned himself as a winner throughout the entirety of his young career so far, you couldn't find yourself in a better situation to start your basketball career, to be able to learn from these individuals, but most importantly, hopefully learning what it means to play in a competitive and winning environment at the highest level of basketball. And he's going to have a chance to do that right away here in Dallas here.
I might have to sports disagree with you, man. I think that there are better situations.
I'm thinking about the NBA. I'm sorry, I should clarify the NBA as far as that comparison was concerned.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely better that he's going to a team that has better players than like the Wizards, for example. But this specific situation is also very volatile and could be subject to a whole lot of change.
Sure.
As early as next year if things don't go well, and then things are flipped upside down, and then they might be bad for a while. Like I don't know what the future holds here, and so I'm not sure that it's a very desirable situation compared to some of the other teams that he could have gone to, even if San Antonio would have won. It's better than Charlotte, maybe better than Philly, although similar levels of uncertainty, I think. But yeah, I mean, from our vantage point, it's great.
Yeah.
Like, it's awesome that he's here. I think it's a better fit for Mavs fans, I think, than it is for Flagg, but hopefully it works out well for both.
And for those who are saying Magic Johnson, I'm just thinking about the last quarter century when it comes to a situation like that. But yes, Magic Johnson walked into a hell of a situation. James Worthy walked into a hell of a situation with the Los Angeles Lakers as well. But just thinking about the last 25, 26 years, Tim Duncan and the San Antonio Spurs is the one that really comes to mind when you start thinking about some of those situations. Cooper Flagg finds himself now officially a member of the Dallas Mavericks. There's some new members of the Dallas Mavericks that aren't named Cooper Flagg that we're going to get into, including this Gonzaga product that's got my guy Bobby Carella extremely excited about what his potential future could look like. Plus, we get into a little bit of preview of NBA free agency as we go roll on the DLLS Mavs podcast. But just like NBA Summer League is in Las Vegas, we are headed to Las Vegas as well when it comes to the DLLS road trip for the Dallas Cowboys in our DLLS Cowboys trip. We're heading to Las Vegas with true fan travel for the ultimate fan experience. DLLS is taking over the strip for an unforgettable weekend in Sin City, and you need to be there. I'm talking about you. Yes, you need to be there. Join us as the Cowboys take on the Las Vegas Raiders on November 17th. That entire weekend, November 15th through the 18th, but the game will be on Monday night on November the 17th. This includes an all-exclusive trip that includes a 3-night stay at a luxury Vegas resort, game tickets, VIP parties, exclusive events with the DLLS crew, and fellow diehards, and much, much more. This is how Dallas does Vegas. Make sure you book now at truefantravel.com. Again, that's truefantravel.com for our DLLS road trip to Vegas with our DLLS Cowboys crew.
It's going to be a good time. It is going to be a good time. You know what's also a good time? It's summer. You're having people over to your house. You're having pool parties. You're having cookouts. You're having backyard bashes. That means there's going to be a lot of drinks. It means you're going to be spilling water. Your kids are going to run through the house, track water in all over that place. It could damage your floor, but not if you get your floor from our friends at Empire Today. They're going to install that stuff. It is going to be waterproof. It is going to be beautiful. And the best part is they bring the showroom to your home. You don't have to go there and try and remember or show them pictures of what your decor and lighting looks like. No, Empire Today brings all that stuff to you so that you can see what your new floor will look like in your home with your decor, with your lighting, with your aesthetic, to get the vibe and the finish that you want. And when you get them out, you can schedule an installation as soon as the next day, okay? These guys know what they're doing. Schedule a free and home estimate today because some things are just better at home. DLLS listeners can receive a $350 discount using promo code DLLS. A $350 discount. Promo code DLLS. Restrictions apply. Visit EmpireToday/DLLS for full details.
Cooper Flagg is not the newest, not just the only newest member of the Dallas Mavericks. I'm going to introduce you to some of the two-way guys that the Mavericks have signed as well as we move closer to NBA Summer League, which begins on July the 10th in Las Vegas. Cooper Flagg scheduled to play, according to our guy Mark Stein, in 2 Mavericks Summer League games. July 10th, he will be taking on the Los Angeles Lakers and Bronny James, who our guy Mark Stein confirmed will be playing in that game as well. And then on July 12th, when the San Antonio Spurs and number 2 pick Dylan Harper take on your Dallas Mavericks and Cooper Flagg. So Cooper Flagg going to get a chance to get some early action early and often in Sin City beginning on July the 10th. But let's introduce you to a few of the other guys that have signed for this team, including Bobby, a young man from Gonzaga who had a brother who was just competing in the NBA Finals, who has made a name for himself in the league, and now his younger brother has a chance to potentially do the same, and he's a member of the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, so the Mavs reportedly gave out a smattering of contracts last night. We'll talk about Miles Kelly and Moussa Cisse and some of the other guys they get next week. But I am Ryan Nembhard pilled. I went deep down a Ryan Nembhard rabbit hole last night. Had also been watching him, before the draft as well, but especially once he's on the team. I found a 4-hour YouTube compilation. Okay, 4 hours.
Oh, Ryan Nembhard.
Ryan Nembhard.
Oh, wow.
The good, the bad, unlabeled, uncategorized, no chapters on that video. I went deep. Okay, and I emerged only further entrenched with my own biases. No, I learned a lot about his game. And I wanted to share some of the things I learned with you. But before, a little biographical stuff. 4-year college player last year at Gonzaga, where he was a 2-year guy there. Averaged 10.5 assists, 9.5 assists, which led all of D1 in assists per game, and 1.7 steals per game. Shot 45 from the floor, 40 from 3, and 77% from the free throw line. A little more bio, a little more anthropometric, not anthropomorphic,
Okay.
whatever. He's not an anamorph, okay? He is a human. 5'11" without shoes at the combine, so he was the second shortest player invited at the combine by measurement, and also only a 6'2" wingspan, which is the second shortest wingspan. So I think if he was a little taller, he probably would have been a first-round pick, to be honest. But instead, size means he goes undrafted. That isn't to say he's doomed. That is just to say that's what the league thinks of him. A few things. I'll start offensively.
Okay.
Very, very good floor game. Guy that dribbles with his head up and he's looking around. He can drive to the basket and kick. He can drive to the basket and finish. He never has tunnel vision on anything, and you don't average 10 assists per game by mistake. And he could have got more, but guys flubbed a couple alley-oop dunks that would have been really cool off of lobs on the break, so he could have gotten closer to 10.0. But he can find shooters, he can find roll men, he can find guys in transition, he can find lob targets, he can find really anything. And it's obviously it's pretty easy to compare him to his brother. Andrew's offensive game with the Pacers, a little catch and shoot, a little point guard, a little combo guard. He's got some elbow stuff, some mid-range stuff, and Ryan has a lot of that to his game too. Obviously not to the same degree as Andrew, who I believe was a bottom of the first round pick and has earned a massive contract. But Ryan does have shades of that to his game. I also found an interview we did with No Ceilings, which is a really good podcast about draft prospects, and they asked him about his shooting percentages over time because he shot 40% as a senior, but only 32% from three as a junior, 36% as a sophomore at Creighton, and 31% as a freshman at Creighton. But he said in between his sophomore and junior year when he got to Gonzaga, he changed his mechanics a little bit. He altered his jump shot to bring his elbow higher above his eyes, which brings the ball way back, giving you a higher release point, which can change the trajectory of the ball. And then also he changed the way that he flicked his wrist as he's releasing the ball. And so in non-conference that season, he shot it really, really poorly. But in conference games as a junior, he shot 46% from three. So really over the last season and a half, he's like a 42, 43% three-point shooter. And that is promising. Because there have been guys like Justin Anderson, who the Mavs drafted in the first round of 2015, had three really lousy shooting seasons in college, or two. And then as a junior, I believe it was, he came out after his junior year, he shot 46% from three. And it's like, oh my God, this guy's like the best shooter alive, but he just kind of had one good year. But Nembhard really had two. Defensively, 5'11", so he's not the biggest guy in the world. Disadvantage because he's 5'11". He makes it an advantage, though, because, and this is a systemic thing at Gonzaga. I don't know if the Mavs will have him do it here, but he was really good at getting in between the ball handler and the screener. So he's going like over the screen. He also did that sometimes on handoffs too. Oftentimes, guys, handoffs on the perimeter, you'll go under the screen and meet the ball handler on the other side. At Gonzaga, he was coached and obviously asked to go kind of over the screen, but like fight through, not like accepting the screen, kind of sidestepping, snaking his way through it, a la like Derek Jones. Making yourself very small to get through that screen in an advantageous way. You also don't average 1.7 steals per game by accident. He has really good hands. He has really strong hands. He would gamble on the perimeter sometimes, and I'm not a huge fan of gambling whenever you're defending the ball. I am a bigger fan of gambling whenever you're defending off ball, and if he was ever defending weak side corner, he would assume sort of like free-ranging, roaming low man duties, and he jumped a lot of passing lanes, or guys would get it on a roll or a cut and not their back would be to him and he'd grab it and reach it, reach for the ball and swipe it right from him. We see Kyrie do that a lot. We saw Jason Kidd do that a lot. So it wouldn't surprise me if the Mavs have him do that if he's ever defending in the corner. And he did off-ball defend very similarly to Kyrie. And so there could be some continuity there schematic-wise. But primarily he's going to be defending guys with the ball in their hands more so than guys without the ball in their hands. Again, being 5'11", a lot of these premier lead guards in the NBA now are like 6'4", 6'5", and so he's going to be facing a height mismatch more often than not. Andrew Nembhard sometimes looks small out there, and he's 6'4". His brother is 5 inches shorter, so that's the reason why he's on a two-way contract. But the awareness, basketball IQ at both ends of the floor, ball skills on defense, court vision, finishing ability, fearlessness, shooting ability on offense. Those are translatable NBA skills, and you don't often get a guy that has that many NBA skills on a two-way deal. Normally, it's like just a freak athlete or a guy that shoots it pretty good but doesn't do anything else. he does a lot of things really well, limited, in my opinion, really only by his height and maybe some explosiveness. And so I think it's honestly a great pickup on a two-way deal. Kudos to Nico or Finley or Matt Riccardi or whoever it was, scouts, that were able to identify that and figure out a way to make that happen, because I think he's not just limited to two-way. I think he can be an NBA player.
Which is a good sign for a team that needs that kind of a player. If he has the ability to show that on a consistent basis and start to put some of that together as he participates in Summer League, to give you an idea that can translate to the next level as far as the NBA is concerned, or on the NBA level, I should say, is that concerned. That's a good sign because guys that are high IQ, that can get into passing lanes, but also be able to distribute, run offense. We know, and we'll talk about this coming up in our next segment in a little bit. We know that the Mavericks are devoid of that right now, especially at the top with their point guard position. So I'm excited to see what the kid does in Summer League, to have an opportunity. We saw how much his brother became a very popular player as the season went on, obviously with the Indiana Pacers making their run to the NBA Finals. I know a lot of Mavericks fans last night were hoping, including Bobby, that they would sign Ryan Nembhard, and they were able to do that. So I like this.
I would have traded in the draft to get him.
Oh, you would have traded back into the second round?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but two-way deal is even better because, you can sign him to a real deal right away, or if he doesn't pan out, no harm, no foul. But the Mavs have had, some moderate success with two-way deals over the last few years. Brandon Williams obviously was one, and he's turned out to have it's going to have a pretty good career.
And we saw how important the two-way guys were this past season to help keep the Mavericks afloat as they were trying to get themselves into the play-in, whether it be Brandon Williams, as you mentioned. Kessler Edwards obviously had himself. He'll forever etch himself as a Mavericks legend around
Kai
here.
Jones.
Kai Jones as well, who may be back in the Mavericks uniform as well this upcoming year. The two-way guys were extremely important. Jason Kidd in the franchise, obviously lauding the contributions of those individuals as the season went on, and we'll see what those impacts begin to look like. A couple other players that the Mavericks did sign as far as names are concerned. Matt Cross out of SMU, invited to Summer League as well. And as a young man that's been mentioned here already, Memphis's Musa Cisse agreeing to an Exhibit 10 contract with the Dallas Mavericks. My man goes 6'10" or 6'11" and a quarter, 225 with a 7'5.5" inch wingspan and a 9'3" reach. So ACC all-tourney selection going to compete for a two-way deal there. So.
The Mavs have done it a lot lately. I mean, a lot. Maybe they only did it last year. I don't remember how long the NBA has had 3 two-way deals, but they give out 2 two-way contracts, the other one reportedly to Miles Kelly, and then they just leave that third one open, invite 20 guys to camp, and which of those remaining 2 or 3 guys has the best camp, we'll give that two-way deal to him. Or sometimes if none of them impress, then you can cut all of those players, send them to the G League, or they can sign with other teams, and then you can poach someone else's two-way player. So, yeah, they've been pretty wise with the way that they've handled those. And I did, while you were talking, Kevin, just see that Caitlin Clark is out tonight.
Yeah, it's unfortunately very disappointing. Yeah,
likelier that the Wings win. But
yes, that
sucks, dude.
Yeah, that is the news. Of course, the Wings are going to be playing at the American Airlines Center tonight, hosting the Indiana Fever. But yes, the Fever just making it official just a couple of moments ago that Caitlin Clark will be out. She was going to be trying to play on the second night of a back-to-back with that groin injury anyway. I didn't think she was going to play, but they have made that official that, unfortunately, Caitlin Clark will not be playing tonight. The AAC is sold out, though, for tonight's game.
The page? Is that the narrative? Doesn't want to go up against her. So.
Yeah.
No, Caitlin Clark's got bodyguards these days in the form of Sophie Cunningham, so I don't think she's necessarily scared of a.
I don't think anyone on the Wings is afraid of Sophie Cunningham.
I don't think so either. To your point, great point.
No disrespect to Sophie Cunningham.
No disrespect to Sophie. But at the same time, I don't think necessarily anyone's afraid of her. But yes, that unfortunately is the news. Caitlin Clark will be out. But hey, Paige Becker is going to play in front of a sold-out crowd. And the way Paige has been playing, she's going to be an all-star.
Yeah, hopefully everyone that has tickets still goes and cheers on the Wings. Obviously, there are going to be a lot of people that go to see Caitlin, but hopefully they go and see, hey, maybe Paige and Enrique are pretty fun too.
Hopefully Enrique shows off. That'd be fun to watch. We will let you know a little bit later on as we finish up our show today to remind you once again, I should say, when Cooper Flagg is going to be making his debut and what that looks like going forward here. But coming up here on the DLLS Mavs podcast, let's take our final break here. what does the Mavericks free agency begin to look like? This is our last show before free agency begins.
Oh, boy.
Next week, Mark Stein. What does it look like from the Mavericks point guard point of view? We'll discuss it next on the DLLS Mavs podcast.
The Mavs made their move. They got Cooper Flagg. They made a couple more moves, getting Ryan Nembhard, Miles Kelly, and so on and so forth. But have you made a move? Have you made your move yet? If the answer is yes, thank you. If the answer is no, buddy, what the heck are you waiting for? Scan that QR code right beneath me. Click the link in the description below or go to alldlls.com/intro. Take advantage of the Make Your Move intro offer, celebrating the NBA draft and the NHL draft and free agencies shortly to follow in both leagues. It is just $36 for a year, which averages out to about $3 a month. What do you get when you sign up? Well, first, you get the pride of knowing that you're supporting what we're doing here at DLS Sports, but more importantly, more selfishly, look, it's about you. You get a shirt, you get this shirt, or any of our more than 40 other shirt designs that you like, including this flag captured shirt. If you like that one, I think that one is pretty sexy myself. You can get that one for free. When you become a diehard, you get any other stuff you want, including hats. Well, I spoiled it. We'll have hats soon, maybe. Including shirts, flags, cups, mugs. Sorry about that, GM Ben, and Gina, and D-Line, and everybody. You get all that stuff.
That toothpaste back in now.
On a discount. You get a discount on events. You also, we got the ball knower bonus rolling out again. If you want to put your baseball knowledge to the test, this one is a bit of a gamble. Who's going to win the MLB All-Star Game?
Oh,
If you activate that ball knower bonus, go to our website, place an order of $25 or more, and you get your guess correct, you are instantly credited with a gift card worth your purchase.
Pick the team that's got Ohtani on it.
You get to double your order for free. You also get to join the DLS Dyer Discord lounge. You get to read all the good stuff on the website, alldls.com, from Tim Cato if the Wi-Fi works. Get your physical diehard card and so many more benefits. So thank you to each and every one of you who have supported us, and now's your best chance ever to do so.
I love this card. This is really spiffy. Look at that, Tanner. Put that on the camera real quick. You see that right there? You can get you one of these bad boys right here. Okay? It's gold right there. Okay? Let's go. Made out of vibranium, titanium, and all the other aniums that are out there. Anyway, let's finish up here because Tanner's like, what the hell's going on?
How many other aniums are there?
Vibranium, titanium, platinum.
That's not an anium.
That's not an anium.
That's an inum.
That's an inum. Aluminum's another inum. Give me another anium.
Unless you're from England, and then it's kind of aluminium. It's an aminium.
There you go. Condominium? No? Okay. Let's finish up here on the show today. The next time you see us boys and girls, we'll be back together as a full crew, kind of, Mark Stein, on Monday when NBA free agency opens, which means the business...
Starting 4:45 Central on Monday, a little bit before the bell.
See, there it is. Tanner's like, wait, what? 4:45 p.m. Central Standard Time as we get ready for Cranium. That's a good one, Cam. That's a good one. As NBA free agency opens, will D'Angelo Russell, Bobby Carella, be the newest Mavericks point guard? Will it be Chris Paul? Could it be Malcolm Brogdon? Could it be Tyus Jones? It feels like that is the biggest piece of business for the Mavericks, because if they're not going to trade Daniel Gafford or PJ Washington, which as of right now they are not going to do, the point guard position is the one that they have got to fill until Kyrie Irving comes back from that torn ACL, of course. Let's get into a little bit of what that could look like beginning on Monday, where our guy Mark Stein said it could be done fairly quickly in terms of them securing whom their next point guard is going to be until Kyrie gets back.
I hope it's not their biggest piece of business. We've specifically me, I've been talking for a few days now, and we talked about it last night and the night before, about how, the 5.7 taxpayer mid-level, which is opened up by Kyrie taking a discount. So first off, Kyrie, you are a legend forever in my eyes. But, the 5.7 mid-level is relatively small. And I would rather the Mavs invest more resources into playmaking. Even if Kyrie was healthy, I think that they should do that. But certainly with Kyrie sure to miss at least 40 or 50 games, if not more, I think they need someone that can do more than just be a stopgap. You need real playmakers. Think about it this way. In 21-22, the Mavs go to the conference finals. They got Luka, Brunson, Dinwiddie. They got three guys. You could always have two of them on the floor. Sometimes you had all three of them on the floor. Mavs go to the conference finals. That summer, Jalen leaves. Mavs go into the next season with Luka and Dinwiddie, and that's it. They miss the playoffs. They get Dinwiddie back. Well, who do they have? Who was their other guy? It was Luka, Kyrie, Exum, I guess.
Yeah.
Hardy, sort of. They go to the finals. They trade Luka. They don't really replace that, and they miss the playoffs. So, like, you need playmaking. And so I would hope that the Mavs would do more than just the taxpayer mid-level on a point guard. But if that is what it's going to be, if they're going to go with a point guard, I'm on record saying that I hope it's not D'Angelo Russell. I personally am not a big fan of his game, and I value other skill sets in my playmaker or in my starting guard, which is what he will be for most of the season, unless you roll with Brandon Williams. I took this question to the Bird, though, and asked on the DLLS_Mavs account, who do you hope the Mavs sign with the $5.7 million taxpayer mid-level exception? Assuming Chris Paul is a long shot, as our Mark Stein has essentially been reporting for a while now. As of this second, 439 people have voted. 60.1% have voted for D'Angelo Russell.
Oh, wow.
12.5% to Malcolm Brogdon. 25.7% to a different guard, unspecified. Fill in the blank there. Yeah, Russell Westbrook. And then 1.6% on a wing or a big, not a guard.
Okay.
So if it were me,
let's make it even bigger.
Yeah, my ultimate vote would be on a wing or big, not a guard, and you trade a wing or big you already have for a guard.
Sure.
So then you still get two birds with one stone. But it seems like, based on Mark's reporting and based on Tim's assessment of the situation as well, it seems like they're going to go guard and then maybe call it a day. And I'm not a huge fan of that, but I know there are people in our chat that really believe in D'Lo or that really believe in Malcolm Brogdon or really believe in Russ or any number of other players.
Ideally, you would love to get Chris Paul. Given the accomplishments of his career, he is a floor general, someone who can not only organize your offense, he allows spacing. He's still a good shooter at this point, but also has his head on his shoulders correctly. There's a lot of things about D'Angelo Russell that you could say my man finds himself in space a lot. And I'm not talking about on the floor. I'm talking about the galaxy part of it. But at the same time, there are things from a continuity standpoint, because I've said it on social media that, if we're looking at the assessment of who is available, because beggars can't be choosers given what they've decided to do in terms of using potentially the mid-level exception to go get a guard, it makes sense that D'Angelo Russell would be the, quote, leading suitor or a leading suitor for the Mavericks in terms of who they get out there, because you've got guys like Anthony Davis and others who have played with D'Angelo Russell. There's familiarity there with certain players on this team. If you want to go real deep cut with it, D'Angelo Russell's been working out with Klay Thompson a lot so far this summer. So whatever you want to throw in terms of behind that. But I personally would try to get Chris Paul, convince him to come here if you could. Malcolm Brogdon's got a lot of injury concerns that I'm not necessarily wanting to explore, because you've already got a lot of that already happening with this team.
And he's not like a dribble penetrator.
Yeah.
I mean, they need someone to break the defense down too, to clear up looks for all these other guys.
And the highs of D'Angelo Russell, when he is locked in, I want to make sure I put the caveat, when he is locked in, he can go get in and score. And yes, he drives to score, not necessarily going to be looking to do a lot in terms of that much deep of facilitation, but there are opportunities for him to be able to put the ball in the basket. But yeah, needless to say, not a great situation with the point guard market that's available if you're not going to go out and trade one and utilize the available assets that you have to find a better one out there. Low key, if I'm all the way 100 with it, thank you, Darius. You might as well just run it back with Spencer Dinwiddie. Now, will he be amenable to bringing, a little less than the minimum or a little more than the minimum? Maybe. But as much as I maligned him as the season was last year, there were pretty decent stretches where he was pretty good for this team. And Tanner's looking at me like, Kevin, you ready to lose your damn mind again?
I kind of agree with you now. And especially he'd be cheaper, right? Wouldn't he be?
Yeah.
He wouldn't be the full mid-level.
I don't think you would have to use the full mid-level to bring Spencer Dinwiddie back. I mean, he did play on a minimum last year, but also he wound up leading the team in minutes and assists on the team last year. So I wouldn't mind necessarily running it back with Spencer Dinwiddie, but maybe with the season that he did have, he maybe played himself somewhere else. So that remains to be seen But yeah, I wouldn't necessarily mind Spencer Dinwiddie coming back for next year.
The challenge is,
talk about familiarity, by the way.
With giving out this contract, the other reason why it's really important what they're going to do with this is in order to sign a guy to a mid-level, it has to be a 3-year contract. Oftentimes it'll be 2 years with an option. So this contract goes beyond just being a stopgap. This guy becomes a part of your team.
That's right.
And something on your books. Part of the reason the Mavs are backed into this financial corner right now is because they're still paying JaVale McGee from when they gave him the taxpayer mid-level. That was several years. That was in 2022, and they're still paying him now from buying him out because he was not good enough.
Stretched and waived.
And so, you're not just signing a guy for 1 year for 40 games until Kyrie comes back, and then you hope Kyrie's good. This guy is part of your team, part of your culture, part of your all that stuff moving forward, or you have to find a way to get off of him. But even Hardy's contract, which is about the mid-level, it's about $6 million.
$6 million, yeah.
Mark Stein swears to us that that's a tradable contract, and I'm looking around for anyone that wants that contract. I know the Mavs don't want it, and it doesn't seem like anyone else does. And Hardy's on a 3-year deal. So, the problem extends far beyond just this season and far beyond just January, which is the most optimistic timeline for Kyrie to sign. So that is something to keep in the back of your mind as well, is which of these players do you think has a multi-year future? And that's another reason why I'm kind of out on Brogdon. It seems like a good dude, seems like a good culture guy, obviously very experienced, savvy point guard and a decent shooter at times a good shooter at times throughout his career. But 3 years from now, I'm not sure he's going to be in the NBA. And I don't want to get a guy that you might not be very high on, that might not be very good, and then you have to stretch wave him and cause yourself problems 5 years from now. I don't want that to be the case. So, we'll see what happens, I guess. But that's a thing to keep in mind as well.
Let's finish up with a couple super chats on today's show. As we do, shout out to all of you who have been watching us here on the DLLS Mavs podcast. Brian Roby with the $10 super chat. I don't see Nico's quote-unquote vision that involved injuries to Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving, but point Coop, Brandon Williams, Dante Exum, point Najee, and Nembhard. I'll take it if they promise me no D-Lo or Russ, Bobby. Also, Cereledge, I choose you.
Cereledge is a really good Pokemon. It's fun to use. Weak Armor is a really good ability on it. Also was really good in Unite for a while before they nerfed my boy right after I spent the coin on him. So that was pretty disappointing. I agree with everything else that you said, though, Brian. I think I would, and I saw, I think Cliff or a different chatter also said the same thing, that they would rather just have Exum than D'Lo specifically, but I'm sure there are people that would probably rather have Dante than any of the guys that they could get. I think that's a pretty good take. Dante has the offensive polish of a guy like Brogdon. He's not as quick as D'Lo, but he's certainly a better defender than D'Lo, and he's more, I would say, consistent and less mercurial than a guy like Russ could be. But Dante comes with his own, and that's the reason why you might be able to get Dante on the minimum.
Yeah.
And so all of these are imperfect players, and that's important to keep in mind for sure.
Eddie with a $1.99 super chat. Would y'all trade PJ and Daniel Gaffer for Andrew Nembhard?
Yes. Indiana wouldn't, but I would for sure.
Ooh, that's a steep price to pay for both, giving up both PJ and Gaffer for Andrew Nembhard. Maybe one and a pick, but sending both to Indiana. Whew, that's a steep price.
Why?
If you're going to commit to this whole defense wins championships, defense.
He's a defender. What do you mean?
No, I'm talking about in terms of how big they want
to
be.
They were in the finals.
I get it. I understand. I'm just saying it doesn't seem like that would jive with what Nico is trying to do here.
Yeah, but it's what I would.
You would do that.
Yeah, for sure. I think Nembhard is great.
I would give up.
Dude, Kyrie Nembhard.
If it's Gafford and a pick in Nembhard, okay. Cool, because you got a surplus in the front court.
Kyrie Nembhard, Flag 80, Lively. Like let's cook. Let's have some fun. I'm down with that.
And plus,
that's my love language.
Plus,
you got great point of attack, great off ball.
Who's going to kill Oklahoma City?
Nembhard was great in the finals against Oklahoma City.
We have the original Oklahoma City killer here, and that doesn't fit with my agenda. You know what my agenda is? It's the PJ Washington agenda.
That is your agenda. You're right.
That's right.
You're right. No,
I got to stick with my agenda.
You're standing 10 toes on that, and I respect it. I respect it.
I appreciate it.
It doesn't mean he's a bad player, though.
I didn't know. I'm not saying that at all.
You just want him here.
I want him here.
Okay.
I want PJ to stand on business here if we could help it.
Clay and PJ for Jared Allen? No.
Oh,
Too many centers. Too many centers. But
we got enough of those. We got enough of them.
But
we got enough.
if they trade Gafford for Nembhard, I might do that.
That's what I just said. I literally just said that. I just said if you trade
I'm talking about
Gafford-
Allen. I'm talking about
I
Allen.
was like, what? What's happening?
4:45 on Monday. Be there or
Don't be square.
Be
just
there.
be here. Just be,
Be there.
here. Just be here.
Be there.
4:45 p.m. on Monday. NBA free agency, boys and girls, wide open. Mark Stein will be here in and out. We'll figure out how that's going to look, but he's going to be busy. And we hope that you join us. And first, and also have a great weekend here on DLLS Sports. Appreciate our guy Tanner making us look good and sound good as always as well. Appreciate Tim Cato and his faulty internet for hanging out with us earlier in the show today.
I'm not on the Mavs. It's not Tim's fault.
I'm just kidding.
Tim's doing his best.
He's doing his best. He's doing his best. Appreciate it.
Actually, I don't know.
He did this.
I didn't see it. I didn't see the article, Tim.
That's all right. That's our guy, Bobby Carella. I am Kevin Gray. We are DLLS Mavs. We'll talk to you on Monday, 4:45 p.m. right here on DLLS Sports. Y'all have a good weekend. We'll talk to you later. Peace.
Get ready to learn Whataburger, buddy.
We all silly like the mayor.